that radio? You call that radio TV? No. You call that radio TV?
We are here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow us and people of conscience to lose our morale.
You call that radio?
Jacking on my heels, out of sight. Bust up and walk the rocks. I kept that ties. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Good evening and welcome to You Call That Radio TV. Tonight we have the legendary Joy France, retired school teacher, now international battle rapper. I actually watched the short film. There's a whole short film about her that was on a film festival, an online digital film festival last week that I watched. Amazing stuff. The TED Talk's amazing. The battles are amazing. What an incredible story. So stay tuned for that. I just thought I would, to give us time to gather round to hear Joyce's story, and to make sure that everyone's tuned in, I thought I'd maybe just start with a new tune, a new Jackal Trades tune that came out today called Last Man Standing on the Edge of the World. The video's not out yet. It's the video's being edited, so just it's on all the digital platforms though, and the video will be out next week. So that's still getting edited, but the tune is out there. It's on Spotify, all the usual places. I'm going to play it from Bandcamp. Let us know what you think of it. And we'll be back in a little minute for Joy France.
I try to remember, but when everything is coming back to me, I feel as if my memory is paralyzed.
Now let's see. What is the last thing you can remember?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, but I got it. It got me, I'm going on a faraway holiday, no planning, returning. Would you miss me lately? I ain't so sure. From sincere to the door, I no longer feel sure. And you are levitating over me in pure. I'm a footnote of an anecdote, but the future needs you. I've become a worse version of my former person. Denial gives permission to pick up this weapon. Reality cheats me and leads to aggression. Want to break out this box that I'm stuffed down and kept in. I reckon the dark road just got too damn windy. The twists were confusing, the lights how they blind me. Sat-navs to enemies, mapped out how they find me. An unlikely hidey holes me no likey. I'm leaving a trail, too tired to fight it. Still petrol from Peter to Paul to ignite it. Last man standing on the edge of the world, rolling solo with the flag unfurled. Last man standing on the edge of the world, rolling solo with the flag unfurled. Last man standing on the edge of the world, rolling solo with the flag unfurled. Last man standing on the edge of the world. This is a man who runs from discussion, comes from the tunnel of fuzz and expulsion, turns into devil on worst of consumption, struggles to function and fucking disgusting. Understands why he can't, but just wants you to love him. Outcast from all funding, relies on his cunning. I speak in the third, I see some of you wondering, hoping for the forks and the tongue in abundance. It sickens to witness the pits of corruption, the worst bits conforming in order to summon up a little something I'm burnt out begunning. For those who forbid me, forgive me, I'm coming. And you can't stun me with a lump, some I'm troublesome and running into oncoming traffic with a mask made for surgeon. The muscle hates a piece of the puzzle called consumption, translating isolation but transmitting from nothing. Last man standing on the edge of the world, rolling solo with the flag unfurled. Last man standing on the edge of the world, rolling solo with the flag unfurled. Last man standing on the edge of the world, rolling solo with the flag unfurled. Last man standing on the edge of the world. That's Jackal Trades, Last Man Standing on the Edge of the World. It's out now on all platforms. It's a bit rough and ready. It was recorded in a kitchen in March, just before, the week before we went into lockdown. And it was meant to be re-recorded and edited, rewritten, and then re-recorded. But it just kind of captures that weird moment of confusion and isolation. So just went with the way it was. And it's going to be on the forthcoming Jackal Trades album at this point. But tonight's not all about me. It's about Joy France. Let's welcome her onto the show. Hit the share button as well, and let's give her a round of applause, I think, to start the show. Everyone in the comments, a wee round of applause for Joy.
You call that radio?
Here to tell the people that we hear you. One God will not allow.
You call that radio?
However you want to say it.
You call that radio?
However you want to say it, that's kind of part of the fun.
Powered by our patrons.
Brothers and sisters.
Are, of course, powered by our patrons. Namely this month, Ruth, Oliver, Alan, Marion, Charlotte, Bob, Tracy, Ross, Anna, Ian, and Ruth, who all signed up in November. We're up to 183 patrons, which is incredible. It's the most we've ever been. We need to get to 200 and then I can exist as a human. So we're nearly there. And we're maybe even going to have a wee all-day Christmas live stream because we're nearly there. We need to get to 200 to do that as well. Thank you to everyone supporting that. If you do enjoy the show and you want to support, then you can do so at patreon.com/you call that radio. We don't have any sponsorship, we don't have any funding, we just do a lot of shows, 150 shows since lockdown began. I think we can go live now to the one and only Joy France. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's sounding good, it's looking good. I appreciate you taking the time to speak to us today. I really enjoyed the short film, first of all, that you sent me a link to, the film festival, and I understand it's an award-winning film as well.
Yeah, it got the the viewers award, which means a lot. Yeah.
So how does it happen? First of all, let's go to, you're a teacher. What was it you were teaching, and just tell us a little bit about that.
It is the strangest leap.
It's one of the strangest, I'll be honest, it's one of the strangest leaps. We've had 150 shows since lockdown, and you're definitely the first person who's went from teacher to battle rapper.
I think the only person, there was Mark Grist, who was a teacher who did battle rap, but he's a lot younger than I am, and yeah, it's... and
he's a male. It's a male dominated.
And it's male dominated, yeah.
And Mark Grist, yeah, he was an English teacher. He was kind of just doing that, and he said. Had you ever heard of Mark Grist before? I mean, how much did you know about battle rap?
I didn't know him as a battle rapper. I knew him as a poet.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's try and tell.
Let's go at the start. Let's go at the start.
Beginning as succinctly as I can. And you asked about what did I teach? Well, I trained to be a primary school special needs teacher. And the reason I did that was all my life I was utterly shy. I would have been diagnosed now with some sort of anxiety disorder or whatever. It would have. I just wanted to be invisible. I just didn't want people to talk to me. And I've thought that as a teacher in a small class, just working with individual kids, I realised I could do that. So that's where I started. And I taught for many years all over the place, eventually working with kids who are excluded from school, working really intensely with them because, I couldn't do big groups or anything like that. And then my last job, which I took early retirement from, 6 years, just over 6 years now, was at a pupil referral unit for youngsters who were ill, either physically ill, mentally ill, phobias, all sorts of things. And yeah, I just took the leap and decided to, just explore my creativity and see where it took me. Never expecting it would take me to the places it has taken me, but hey, I could be there just doing the teaching as like everybody else, and I've had this weird adventure.
Well, I suppose that's the thing about creativity. When you turn on the tap and you just go with the flow, strange things can happen.
Very strange. I didn't think I was creative at all. Everything I tried, I couldn't do. I couldn't play an instrument, draw, anything. I tried knitting once, and I ended up knitting a pair of gloves that had 6 fingers. And I thought, okay, that's not for me. And but I could see the power of creativity, how it can affect kids and really make a big difference. So I used to buy in artists and drummers and things like that. But it was only in my mid-50s that I discovered my creativity, and I found poetry. Performance poetry in particular. Yeah.
So you hadn't really dabbled in it at all before then?
Nothing whatsoever. I wrote a poem when I was 11, and that was it. And then the next time is in my mid-50s.
So was that what made you write your first poem in your 50s?
How many hours have we got here? Okay. A few years before I discovered poetry, 2 or 3 years before, I decided that life was a bit boring. And the only way I could change things was if I did things a bit differently. So I decided to follow any coincidences that happened, just for the fun of it, just to shake things up. And I did some really weird shit for a year or two, absolutely. I mean, I was telling people the other day, I ended up going with 100 people and a Chinese artist who'd come over, and he gets people to take cabbages for a walk. So 100 of us took cabbages for a walk on leads through the streets of Manchester. That's sort of weird. And one of the weird things that happened was I ended up at a 1-hour poetry writing workshop, and my life completely changed.
That's incredible. And what was was there a poet? And is there a poetry scene? Where is it you are actually? Sorry,
that was in Wigan. That was in Wigan.
And does Wigan have a poetry scene?
It does. It's at the time in particular, it was it's got a good poetry scene. But what I didn't realise was we had a regular night. There's an organisation called Write Out Loud, WRITE, and they run some nights in the north. And one was in the Tudor pub, and I would go along and sit at the back all quiet, like, not very confident. And eventually I got up and started doing things. But I didn't realise it was known as the Bear Pit, because it was a pub, it was drunk, people would heckle and people do the splits. It was a proper stage and lights and, proper sound guy doing all the levels. So I did that for about a year. Then when I stepped into other poetry events, I was shocked. They were like very polite and they clapped nicely and they said, that was lovely, Damien, or whatever. And I just thought, oh my God, this is, there's no punch to this. There's no energy in it at all. So I started looking for other nights that had a bit of, similar sort of thing.
So you started off with the sort of light poetry, but you needed a stronger hit. And then at this point, what is your experience of hip hop? Because I heard just that you were into your Tupacs and stuff like that from the 90s. So you're a fan of hip hop?
Yeah, I listen and always have listened to a wide variety of music. Even when I was teaching, I used to do the poetry of Tupac with the kids and things like that. And just because it's bloody good, it makes them connect and think and so it wasn't it was just lots. You could ask me, was I into jazz? Was I into blues? Was it probably everything except country? So it was just one genre. I didn't think anything of it other than I liked a lot of it.
And then obviously from poetry, because I mean battle rap. You've obviously seen you'd seen the 8 Mile movie.
Your voice, like you're still like doing this.
Yeah. I'm still waiting. Okay, where does it happen? I know I know that you're trying to take me down the path because it's not. I heard you saying in the movie, it wasn't an overnight thing. I didn't go, right, I'm going to retire from being a teacher and become a battle rapper. But there's
Okay, what did I know about battle rap? Like most people, Eminem in 8 Mile, obviously, because was the thing. And in the poetry scene, because I suddenly started doing really well. I had no confidence, but I started winning slams and getting awards and winning prize money and things like that. And I really started building up my confidence, and also my confidence in really talking to other poets. And I discovered that I knew. I'm trying to think who I knew at the time. Kinnell was battling just before he changed his name to Kinnell. He was a poet as well. So I knew he did it, but I didn't really understand what it was. And I thought, well, he's a nice guy, but
what's Kinnell's poetry like? Because obviously I've only known him as a battle rapper. He's a very funny guy.
Okay, when he was in the room, he was amazing. He could beat most people hands down. Most times he was there in body, but he'd
say no more, Joy. Say no more. I know what you mean. Okay.
But also a really, really lovely guy I knew through poetry is Martin Stanage, who was battled as Visceral. So I knew 2 people who were nice people, but in my head it didn't compute with this horror. All I knew about battle rap, it was everything I hated. And I assumed misogyny, racism, homophobia, just everything that I really can't stand. I genuinely, honestly believe that's what it was when I decided to do a battle.
And it's not, is it? Is it not?
It's partly in some of the battles. It certainly is. I'm not going to say it isn't. And of course, there's different scenes, different countries, different times. But essentially, I went to do a battle, and my plan was to go in, have a battle, and then run away. And I could say that I was brave enough that I'd done it, and maybe made them rethink a little bit about age and, so short, fat, old, white-haired woman giving them a run for the money is what I wanted. And that didn't happen. Well, it did happen, but that was just the start of it. Because when I stepped into the room in Coventry to battle on my first league battle against this guy called Blunt Ted, nobody in the room knew me. I was terrified. I was shaking. I came out in a rash. My mouth was dry. I just couldn't. And I had the documentary people following me. And I remember one of them saying, the director saying to me, "Are you going to go through with this?" And I just said, I looked astonished. I said, "Look, even if it's the biggest car crash in the world, I'm not going to back out. I've got this round. I'm going to do it." And yeah, I was terrified. And genuinely, people were staring. I heard some people say, somebody's brought their gran with them. Isn't that nice? And, I just stood out like a sore thumb. And all I knew about the guy I was battling was he stood for everything. I watched some of his battles. I didn't watch much about battle rap because I didn't want to. And I just thought, yeah, this guy is horrible. I hate, I can really go for this because he's just stands for everything that I hate about it. Of course, within a short amount of time, one or two of the battlers, the first one to speak to me was a guy called Bard, who chatted to me, was really nice, really encouraging. And one or two others spoke to me. And I thought, there's one or two nice people here. Then Blunt Ted turned up. And I went, the worst thing I could have done, he came over to speak to me. And it turned out, not only was he actually a really nice guy, he was wishing me well. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this isn't what I expected. He also told me he hadn't been drinking for a few months. And half my bars were about how drunk he always was. So I had to say, oh my God, I'm already prepared some of this. I'm going to have to change a lot of this at the last minute to reflect the fact that, and then, it just really threw me. And I battled. And
you battled, indeed?
I battled him, and I couldn't run away because afterwards everybody just was amazing. Everyone's buying me drinks and high-fiving and giving me hugs and just talking to me and everything. But it went up on YouTube on the King of the Ronalds channel. So yes, I've sort of braced myself.
Well, what we do is we're just going to play a bit of that just now.
Give people
to give people a flavour of what's going on. And shouts to King of the Ronalds, which is, just for people who don't know, there is, like, Joy's very correct in saying that there's different leagues, there's different countries, different styles of battle rap, and King of the Ronalds is one of the most underground, no holds barred kind of, you know, punk kind of vibes.
That's it. Yeah.
So there is, you can get, I mean, it's probably the hardest place to try and go, and a crazy atmosphere. And let's just see what happened here. Okay, let's go for it.
Hey, we are out here in Coventry, about to make history. You ain't never seen nothing like this before. I'm gonna let Boski introduce battler on my left.
On the left,
What a
we're from
background.
Manchester.
Yeah.
A semi-famous spoken word poet.
Yes,
She's
right.
61 years old.
right.
Make some noise for Joy Brown.
On my right, you know him as he is King of the Ronalds legend. What an absolute dickhead. Born Chad in the building.
Make some noise for Monty.
Let's go, Joyce.
Right.
Hold it down.
I said I'm doing this for real. So don't match me with a clown.
What a dickhead.
I checked you out. And I thought the video was buffering, but no, it was you freezing and stuttering. You remember it? You were utterly, fuck-wittingly bad. In a really bad way. You were lame. You look like a character in a Sims game. I would swear you were speaking Simlish. Because you sound... But it definitely wasn't English. Because it was ridiculously gibberish. Yeah. It was like you'd swallowed a Flemish rhyming dictionary. Because you had all the verbal dexterity of a spoon. And the predictability of sun following moon or a Martin Garrix tune. You know it.
Let's go, Joy. I'm assuming that was a good one.
Sorry. I've got to keep going. Yeah. Okay. And your bars were like bleating sheep. Or Tesco's own brand cup of tea. Wheat.
There you go. Wheat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The value wheat.
And you pulled it back so many times, I'm sure I was watching it on loop play. Guess what? I reckon your rap name should change to Mr. Groundhog Day. So I watched another video, and you stopped spitting bars, and you spit out your dummy, and you folded your arms. And what an ass! You won the next, but I could see why. I was reading off his phone. Yeah? But the best was when you were thrown, because Mickey went for a piss in the park and left you alone. And you were crying for your mama, because it started to rain. And you were so lame that you went all Rihanna, because you needed an umbrella. Right. So, finally, right, let me tell you one thing, fella, right? I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't make it up. You just couldn't. You couldn't. Blunt Ted, a.k.a.
Hold down!
I'm going to play a bit of Blunted to give people an idea of how harsh battle rap.
Shut up! Yo, I'll bet your pussy is fucking clapped. Keep talking. I'll bet your pussy is fucking clapped. Clitoris like a carrot and down by your kneecaps is the flaps. Plus you're fat. So how the fuck do you expect to come here and be controlling a wind when you're so old and big that you can't even keep control of your skin? Fucking hell, Chad. And you've only got yourself to blame for being gargantuan. Look at your belly, look at your cankles. So how does it feel knowing you're a fat bitch addicted to sandwiches and anything from Cadbury's? And why the fuck would you come here when we're all a bunch of savages? I could never die to someone who's already so close to death and stinks of boiled cabbages. And this old wrinkly, crinkly is pissed off. I can feel the tension. I put a bullet between her eyes so she don't reach the age to pick up a pension. Say it again, Chad. Say it again, Chad. Shut up, man. Say it again, Chad. And when Boski gave me this battle, you better believe that I took it quick, because I was more than happy to help this fucking bitch tick this long and itch off a kick the bucket list. And don't get it twisted, because this ain't a murder that will go down in history. Bitch, this is euthanasia, because I'm putting you out of your misery. All right, I'm getting round two.
Right.
Give me a drink and I'll...
Yes, I'm old, and I'm going to start this old style, right?
Yeah. Old style.
Old style.
Let's go, Joyce.
When I say blunt Ted, you say dickhead.
Dickhead.
Blunt Ted.
Dickhead.
Blunt Ted.
Dickhead.
Right. Every time I say it through the next 2 rounds, you...
Dickhead.
Be sharp, not like blunt Ted.
Dickhead.
What a dickhead. Let's go, Joyce.
How many league battles have you done? Loads.
Too many.
I've done none. So blunt Ted.
Dickhead. Yes.
None.
Yes. Say it again, Joyce.
Anybody who wants to join in, feel free. Right. So stand back, mind the gap, and let's show you how it's done.
Ted.
She didn't say it.
Sorry.
That's going to happen all the way through, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that you, Daniel? Are you before me?
You call that radio.
Hello, yes, this is Dog.
This is You Call That Radio TV. Tomorrow night we have Amelia Baylor live from Capture Works. Sunday is Creative Matters live from Capture Works. Monday is Ashley Crossan. It's a big week next week. Tuesday we have Celia Gaze, who is going to tell us about why you should put bow ties on llamas and how it changed her life. Wednesday we've got Songwriting Seeds with Becky Wallace and Rosie Bands. Thursday you've all got Talent with Auntie Barry and Sarah. That's going to be a big week next week, but it's still this week. We've got Joy France in the house. We just watched her first ever battle rap there. What's it like watching that back? Do you walk it back that way with pride, or are you still a bit nervous watching it back?
I am really glad that I was matched up against Blunt Ted, because I'd asked I would only battle if I'd do it for real. I didn't want somebody who would go easy or wouldn't do, and he delivered. You can see he just went for it, and that built me up that although I thought it was going to be my one and only battle, it was a good stepping stone because I've done quite a few since.
I like the way that you're calling him a stepping stone as well. You're still dissing the guy. Is just another a little stepping stone for you. Well, I mean, it's interesting.
I think it's one thing to say is like everybody I have battled, there's a connection there. There's something. It doesn't happen with everybody, but you become sort of friends on a different level because you have faced them in that way. There's some sort of bond there.
And when you're talking about that was meant to be your only battle, and I think that I can kind of when it comes to live music as well, I'm in the kind of same predicament whereby if you have a really good gig, then of course you're going to want more of that. But if you have a really bad gig, you're like, fuck, I can't retire like that. I can't make that my last gig. I can't just go away knowing that is how my career's going to end. So do you think you're just kind of stuck in that loop where you're just going to battle forever?
No, not at all, because I every time I have battled, it's got to be something different. There's got to be a reason. So my next battle after that was in Dublin against a guy called Raptha, spelt with a H. And I basically said I wanted to battle in Dublin, partly because it made me an international battle rapper. But also I wanted to see whether I could go up against one of Ireland's finest. And so each time I battled, each person, or the last time I battled earlier this year was again in Dublin, but against a guy from Canada called Omar. And there's been a different reason every time. I don't want to just repeat the same thing. There's got to be a challenge or just some reason to do it. I'm not on a treadmill of battle rap at all. It's one aspect of it. I do loads of other things. It's not the only thing in my life at all. Right. I think the important thing, people are impressed that no matter how I do, whether you like what I do or I don't, they're impressed that I've got the balls to do it. Yeah. But the main reason why I'm still doing it isn't because of the battles. It's because of the community that's there. It's the people, it's the characters, it's the whole, it's really raw, it's really real. And you mentioned at the beginning the Hebden Bridge Film Festival and the film, the Northern Art film that won About Me won the Viewers Award. But there was another one that won a main award, and that was a beautiful, beautiful short documentary about We Are All Here, it's called, and it's about Glasgow rapper who had done a bit of battle rap, Lumo, who took his own life, and it's about the aftermath of that and his friends and his family. And it's really, really lovely. But the strange thing for me is the theme, the main message from that is men in particular, and particularly in that scene, need to talk to each other, talk about their mental health and things. And what I've found in the battle rap room, not the rap world, but in Manchester in particular, wow, I've never met so many people who genuinely just talk about how they're feeling, when they're stressed and when they're, serious stuff. And I've never met a community that reaches out so much and helps other people who are going through shit, who are really there. It is really lovely to see. And, I don't know whether it's just about Manchester or it's more battle rap, but I'm part of that community genuinely just as a member of the community. I'm not somebody who they just tolerate, who's this weird woman who comes and does battle rap. I wouldn't be in it if it wasn't amazing.
It's absolutely. It shouts to Hannah and Tim who did the We're All Here film as well. An amazing film. I've had them on the show, and of course myself and probably a lot of the viewers knew Lumo as well. So yeah, it was a nice surprise to see that film was also on it. Because you sent me the link to watch your film, and I noticed that it was there. And both of you won an award on the night as well. So congratulations to you both. Have you thought about doing music, or since you are part of the hip hop community now, I've tried to go over a beat?
Yeah, I've done a part. I started off at the end of last year doing a part on somebody's album, part one of the tracks on beat, that was to do with addiction and things like that. And I've done some others on beat, and I'm currently working on something which I can't say what it is yet, but it is to do with being on beat. But also, like, I've started doing stand-up comedy, telling the stories, some of the hilarious things that have happened about me. I did a TED Talk, and in a TED Talk, there are certain things you can't say or do. And it just frustrated me that I couldn't tell the real story. So, yeah, I started doing stand-up comedy.
Amazing. So, the battle rap world has opened into stand-up comedy. Is the stand-up comedy about the battle rap, or is it just...
Yeah, no, I do different parts of it. And what I'm basically doing is doing lots of short 15, 20-minute sets. But I'm hoping post-COVID to sew them all together and actually have a full show that will include me doing some battle rap, will involve a couple of other battlers, and, you know, maybe take it to Edinburgh or something like that, or... because it is hilarious. Some of the stories are just unbelievable, and they're so funny. Yeah. So
how many battles is that you've been involved in now?
Oh God, I can't remember. So I did I battled Hulk on Don't Flop. I was meant to battle...
For people that don't know, Don't Flop is the sort of the biggest... Well, what... That was the biggest. It was huge. It's obviously going through a period of shit just now. There's obviously quite a lot of different battle rap leagues all competing with each other. But Don't Flop. Sorry, so it's the Hulk, you're battling Hulk on Don't Flop.
Yeah,
that's a prime battle. You know, he's a total vet and an amazing battler.
Yeah, and Don't Flop, you know, certainly was the biggest thing out there, and. Yeah, and things, they ebb and they flow and they wane and they go up and whatever. I mean, I have had such buzz because the scene in Ireland is really, it's the crack there, as they say, is just amazing. And, you know, probably the biggest crowds were there. I was meant to battle in New York in May. I was battling a woman battler on the league over there, but COVID put a stop to it. So.
Fuck's sake, COVID. Come on, COVID. Let's have some sort of fun. As now you're when you've got so I was going through the comments just now. We've got Go Joy, us over 60s are with you, says Mary Phillips. Brilliant stuff, Joy, says Alan. Andrew Westcott says fair play, Joy, getting stuck in there, duck. Petra says bold and brave, Joy. He came at you with no bars held. The crowd loved it. Go Joy. And we've got enough respect from Shel Tomel, a hip-hop legend from Scotland. We've got intellect versus jealousy, says True Voice Creations. And she was laughing at your Mr. Groundhog Day diss. Another hip-hop legend tuned in. We've got Empress, who's an amazing MC from Paisley. She's enjoying it. Mary Veronica saying fab backdrop. And Tam the Van's agreeing with that. It's the best backdrop to date. I would agree. Congratulations, Joy. That is the best backdrop that we have seen.
I think that this backdrop works really well with the track that you played at the beginning. It fits really nicely about being at the edge of the world. And by the way, I really rate that track, and I never say that if I don't mean it.
All right. Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, it deserves more listens, so I can actually catch all of it. Yeah.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of people struggle and say that they can't cope with the Scottish accent.
Yeah.
Bollocks.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes it can be a bit fast and a bit jarring, but in general, I think it's just a lot of the people that say that they can't understand an accent. It's a bit down to ignorance as well, because of course you might not be able to understand everything the first time you listen to it.
Yeah.
But good hip hop, you shouldn't be able to understand it all at first listen. It should be a good enough tone, a good enough something that grabs you, enough melody, enough lines in it that make you want to listen to it again. But a really good English rapper or a really good American rapper, it's going to need to be replayed a few times before you are going to understand it. So
there's some people who do rap or battle rap who've got quite posh voices, and they've got to really work hard because it just sounds a bit clunky just because of their accent. But you know, they can be quite amazing. But yeah, like an
Who's your
favourite?
Who's your favourite battle rapper?
There's no way on this earth I'm going to answer that. And if you ask me who's my favourite film star, what's my favourite film, I just can't do it. I really can't, because I'll say somebody at one point, and then an hour later I'll think of somebody else, and then somebody else, and they're all so diverse. You know, you've got the ones who do really clever wordplay. There's others that are just so hilariously funny. And there's some that I just don't particularly like because it's not my style. You know, I get tired of gun bars and, you know, the same old, you know, sort of. The weird thing is, somebody pointed out that currently I am the only active female battler that they know of in the UK. Now, if that's true, that is crazy.
That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And when you're talking, just for people that don't know what gun bars, you said gun bars there. What is gun bars? Because we've got Mary Veronica saying very inspiring, Joy. I'm in your age group as well. So what is gun bars?
Well, obviously, because this all originated in America, and it's gun bars or knife bars are when you are using threats against the other person. You're trying to do it, you know, and you aggressively, and you're saying, I'm going to take my whatever, I'm going to do whatever. And it's like, you know, some people love it. Some people love that aggression and the things. It just doesn't do anything for me, that's all. And especially when it's over here. And it just sounds empty because, you know, there's no.
It can be funny. I think gun bars can be quite funny over here if someone does it from an obviously joking point of view. But there's got to be a bit of irony in there, especially some people that are just
I think
doing that for real.
My rap the battle in Ireland, I think I said something about pulling out a glue gun or something, and you know, I did some sort of gun bars about, you know, doing craft or something. I can't remember now, but in fact, not all my battles are up there, but that one is, and the Blunt Head one, and there's a couple of others that are.
We're going to watch the Omar one in a little bit as well.
All right, that's an interesting one.
We are going to go at that because I think we'll not give away too much away because I think some people might be quite shocked at some of the stuff that happens in that one.
With everything, all these battles come with content warning.
Yes, we should have maybe said that.
I think it's for a different reason than just swearing or.
Yeah, there's always something. It's we've got Shelto Mel saying, "Do you know Seek the Northerner?"
No, Seek the Northerner.
No. And Shelto Mel saying, "I'm tired of gun bars too." Brilliant. And it's like, we're just talking.
I may know. The problem with me is everybody has their rap name, they've got their own name, they've got the Facebook name, they've got the rapper's name, and it's the same person. So sometimes, you know, it's just like overload.
I've got good friends in the hip hop scene that I didn't know their real names, and I don't know all their names to this day.
Oh, by the way, I chose to battle under my own name. That was important.
It's because you've got a cool name.
It's easy to remember, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good.
The Manchester Evening News did an article about it, and they said something about what was it, the Grandmaster or something, Flash, or there was, you know, there's been loads of puns that are using the gran or the granny thing, but no, just me. That's, you know, that's it. Whatever I'm doing, I'll just do it, and I'll take any flack that anybody throws at me.
You're talking about you don't like the gun bars, so, and we also sort of hinted earlier on about the misogyny and homophobia and stuff like that. So obviously not your sin at all. How do you deal with that when it's getting directed at you?
No, that's something people can say. If you look at the Rapper one, you know, he talked about, I don't know, the vagina on my chin, you know, sticking a finger in there or whatever. And it's like, I can take, God, I've taken so much. I've been terrified all my life that this is nothing. It's entertainment and things, but yeah. And I can take
nothing's ever bothered you then when you're actually doing it?
Nothing. Not one thing. Not one thing.
No fucks given.
Absolutely. But I think the important thing is there is some misogyny and homophobia and everything within the community. Every community has. But what I've seen is, like, for example, quite recently, there's a few battlers who've come out as gay or bi or pan or whatever, and the reception's been amazing. It's like, yeah, okay, so what? And I don't think that would have happened a few years ago. And yeah, it's a real credit to the people who are in it.
It doesn't really seem like there is any real hatred. It seems to be more like, well, from my experience anyway, it's been more like it's an anti-movement against political correctness. So it's almost like they want to say the most shocking things just because they can, or just.
And yet there are limits in different places. You can say what you want, but then you have to take the consequence. There's a battle with a poor lad called Fozzie, and it was on King of the Ronalds, and he said the N-word, and it's a no, for a white lad to come in and just whatever. And yeah, it's hilarious, and it was such a car crash. And there's certain people say you can't really use persons. You don't bring into a battle something about somebody's kids, or there are some limits to some things. And for me, I'm quite fascinated with this freedom of speech versus
freedom of consequences.
Yeah, and it's constantly evolving. There's no answer.
Yeah, it's what we're going to do just now is we're going to play a battle from Omar. I mean, do we want to give any content warning just now?
All I'll let you know is that Omar flew from Canada to Dublin to battle me earlier this year. That's all I'm going to say.
February 8th, 2020. Broken Resolutions 2. Rap is full. On the left.
With bad. Right, so it's Grandma versus Omar. Omar who? This no mark. The guy that got cancer and people thought were a goner. He battles like he's slicing a doner. Has a voice that'll put you in a coma. Yeah, this guy is sweet, but he has a hard persona. So what rhymes with bars for Omar? Carcinoma. Right, I'm going full on grief. I'm going to make you forget all that you believe. I'm going to make you choke till you can't breathe. I'm going to pull the plug, put you to sleep. I'm going to leave your family and friends bereaved. I'm going to do what cancer couldn't achieve. Hang on, there's something a bit weird here. What? Right? What? You got to make a wish, and battling me was your answer? Seriously? You're supposed, that's for kids, and you're supposed to do it while you're ill, not after. So you're here against an ageing, coughing, dodgy grandma because you managed to dodge being a decaying cadaver. What? But I don't care because my words are deadly and toxic. I'm Nurse Joy with Munchausen's by proxy. I'm a smiling assassin with a bedside manner that's toxic. I'm just never happier when I've done a body bag and I'm doing an autopsy.
Are you fucking mad? Are you fucking mad?
Okay, let me tell you, this guy, this guy is going to come out acting all big Billy Bollocks. He's actually as hard as a teapot made of chocolate. Yeah! I could knock him out with a backhand wallop.
How do we educate our children to take their place in the economies of the 21st century? How do we do that, given that we can't anticipate what the economy will look like at the end of next week? Every country on Earth is trying to figure out how do we educate our children so they have a sense of cultural identity and so that we can pass on the cultural genes of our communities while being part of the process of globalization. How do we square that circle?
You call that radio?
Makes coherent sense.
You should call that radio TV. Joy France, we've got Sky says yes. Shelto Mel says no holds barred, go for the jugular, supreme being. And Jim Monaghan says brutal. Joy could get a job in a rogue shop in Postal with that part. Omar, I seen Omar battle Andrew Mackenzie, and it was a kind of sort of a similar vein. So Omar had just recovered from cancer, is that correct?
Yeah, I went down to the last ever King of the Ronalds event in London to watch, and I saw on the card that there was this guy called Omar. I said, I don't know who he is, and this other battler said, oh no, it can't be the Omar, because he used to battle on King of the Ronalds, and he got cancer, and he's gone to Canada, and I think he's dead. Anyway, it turns out he'd had all his treatments, and he's done all his humour in the tumour podcasts and things, and he was a year cancer free. So he wanted to come and battle on the very last King of the Ronalds because it'd been such a part of his life. And so he was due to battle Mackenzie, and the whole event took place and then finished with no Omar. And then as we were leaving, he turns up, and he'd had food poisoning. He'd spent the day at A&E. So he'd arrived, and basically he wasn't going to not battle. So we all went out into a little patch of grass, a bit of a field, a bit of a park, and they battled outside in a beautiful summer's day. And it was afterwards he came over, and I'd never spoken to him before, and it was the first time I'd seen him battle. And yeah, put this idea into my head that maybe I could battle him. And I turned to him, and this is see, nobody in the room where the battles you've just seen, nobody knew this, but my first thought was that bar about make a wish foundation, and I just, and your wish was to battle me. So I just looked him in the eye and I said, yeah, if I battled you, it'd be full of cancer bars, I'd go in hard. And he said, yes, because I know I'm alive, and so I want to do it for real. I want to. So we knew that that's what I was going to do, but of course nobody in the crowd knew that at all. And it was like in the room, you could hear him go, oh, what did you just say? And it was one round each. So it was a very long battle. I did mine, and then he did his. But I ended my round by basically saying that, cancer was, I really admired him. Cancer was a shitter sort of thing. And he'd recently taken somebody from Dub Scandal crowded. And I basically got the whole crowd to join in and shout, cancer can pogue my hone, which is kiss my ass. And so it was, it's entertainment, it's playing, it's making a point. And I can't stand looking back at my things. All I can see is what I did wrong, all the words I got wrong, the flow that was wrong. But I'd had no sleep that night. Should I tell you something that happened and I hadn't told this?
You said that this is an exclusive, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, this is going to be part of my stand-up routine.
Go for it.
So I had some groupies come over, some friends and different people who would never go to battle rap, who were some of my age. One lad called Matty, who I know brought his dad because it was his dad's birthday. And so I had these, if you look at the film, you can see one or two at the back of me. And they were staying in an Airbnb, and I was meant to be staying with them, which meant it was a 3-day event. I think it was something like 40 battlers. And again, I was the only woman on the card. Anyway, that's by the by. So this was the night before I was due to battle. And I went up to one of the organisers and said, look, I've got to leave because we've got to get the bus to get to the Airbnb. And the organiser says, there's a spare hotel room. And it was next door to, if you know O'Shea and Floss.
Yes, he's hilarious.
Legends, absolutely. So, fantastic. So I could stay to the end. Anyway, I got back to this hotel and sort of spent a bit of time with O'Shea, whatever, and then went into this room and there were some bags in there. So now to cut a long story short, a battler had dropped out and then he told a couple of people that they could have the room, but it was my room. So at silly o'clock in the morning, there's this knocking on the door. And I hope I get the names right here because I'll be done for slander if it's the wrong ones. And in walks Kruger, who's a legend from the big Don't Flop days, and a woman I didn't know called Laura. And they were kicking up a fuss. It was their room and all the rest of it. And in the they just got into bed with me. So I'm in bed with this strange guy and this woman who's just in a thong and a bra. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm battling tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to sleep. Anyway, it's part of the story and there's a lot more that happened. But I can actually say in some battle, that I've slept with Kruger or I've slept with Laura, or I can use it at some point. But it's definitely going in the show because that's the end of it. Lots of things happened that evening. But it meant that the next day, I was meeting the people who were coming in to watch the battle. I'd had no sleep. I'd had all this thing going on. So goodness knows, but I still did it. I didn't do it as well as I wanted to, but I did it.
That's amazing. And is it what when you're going to Ireland? I watched that one. That was is it Rapthor? Rapthor, you pronounce it?
That's the one I did the year before. Yeah, and then this year I did. It was Omar.
So so do you? Are you? Is the whole journey quite nerve-wracking when you're going over there and you're travelling out with
first time I did it against Rapthor, to put a bit of context. I was actually quite ill and I had a problem with my ears on the plane and I had tinnitus and but I thought, I'm still doing it. But when the organisers, said, right, who would you want to battle? I said, give me one of Ireland's finest. And then they said, well, where do you want to stay? And I said, well, I've told you to treat me like everybody else. There's some others coming over from England. Where are they staying? And the organisers, they're in a hostel, in a dormitory room. And I said, okay, that's fine. I'll go in there with them. And it was just so hilarious because the ones who knew me, people like Yaneth and that were going, that was fine. But one or two of them didn't. And I could see in the chat, they were saying things like, oh my God, we're going to be sharing with the granny. She's going to be making us Horlicks and, giving us rich tea biscuits and telling us stories. And then it degenerated. It was all like, yeah, we'll drop her some ease and we'll do this and we'll watch it and we'll film her while she's gurning, and a lot worse, things that I probably shouldn't say here. So what I did, I got there first. What I did, I'd got some little chocolate glittery skulls and some popping candy and something else. So I put something, like you do in a posh hotel, I put some on every pillow. So as they arrived, there was this crazy bit of... In fact, one of them woke up next morning because they'd arrived back drunk, hadn't noticed it there, woke up with chocolate all down his face. Once they just treated me like normal once that was over. So it's exciting. It may have been daunting, but if it wasn't scary and nerve-wracking, then it's boring.
Do you think your poetry's improved with the experience of battle rap?
Probably the reverse, actually.
So everything's round right, a poem, you end up just...
Look, I never mention this in things. Other people mention it, but I don't, right? But people might recognise me and hate my guts. Some others might love me for it. But I actually did some of the poetry adverts for Nationwide Building Society on telly, right? And I got some of them on, and then they asked me to do another, and it was a short turnaround. And I was meant to battle in Cork against a young woman that was there. So I was getting ready and doing all these bars, and then suddenly I had about a week to write poetry that's appropriate for going, on the telly for whatever. And it was like, oh my God, I can't do it. Everything I'm doing is rap.
With the Nationwide guys, you're not the first person to be on this show that's done the Nationwide adverts. I think half the poets have done it now. But could that not have got you into trouble? Because surely Nationwide's wanting
No,
boats.
they could have done, but well, now it's tough. You know, I know. There's
the check's been cashed.
Yeah, a lot of battlers, have to have a different name. They don't let on at work. They're bringing their company into disrepute. Whatever that word is. Disrepute, is that it?
Disrepute sounds good to me.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm I don't care. I've lived long enough. The people it might have, if you got married and kids and you need your job and things, I understand it. But what's going to happen? And to be honest, I've turned down quite a few jobs because I don't believe in the companies. If somebody paid me a load of money to write for the Sun or whatever, the answer would be no. And that particular building society isn't a bank, and they treated the poets really well. They didn't ask us to change any words, and they paid properly, and so I've got no, and this is something people don't actually know as well. And I don't care. I'm just in this mood today where I'm telling things that I don't normally say. When I started winning slams and things, and then doing things like the building society stuff, I've put most times 50% of the money that I've got into making things happen for other people. Not necessarily, obviously, I'm not like say, I've won the pools, come and whatever. But like last summer, I won a slam in Margate. It was a really good slam. But the guy who came second, he was really new to it. And I think it was 100 quid or whatever. So without telling anybody else, this is why I don't say these sorts of things. I just slipped him 50 quid and said, use this to travel so that you can enter other things, use it to get on a train, to get on a bus, to try other places or whatever, so because it's not about, it's about the experiences that we have. So like for the last 5 years, anybody knows Manchester, I'm creative in residence in Affleck's Palace, and I've done that for free for 5 years. And it's like having my own little studio, and it's just amazing. So if anybody is in Manchester or at any point, message me and I'll see if I can be there and meet up with you. Because it's more about the experiences and the people and what you do, rather than, I've got I don't know, I'm having the flashiest car and the poshest shoes or whatever. It just doesn't mean anything. So I don't know why I ended up talking about all this, going down a right rabbit hole here.
No, it's all good, though. It's brilliant. And I think it's cool because I suppose it's all coming together, your experiences in slam poetry, battle rap, and you're now taking that show to Edinburgh Fringe. It sounds like a good show that I can imagine doing very well. I mean, what about your slam poetry? Who do you rate in that world?
I'm not going to. I've got loads of people. I'm not going to answer. Tough. So I'm not going to be pushed into. I have so many people, and and again with the slam poetry, I've deliberately tried to, and I've won quite a few, but with very different poems. With ones that are very sad, with ones that are very political, with ones that are funny. In fact, the reason I got into battle rap, this is one step that I didn't tell you in the story, is that I wrote a poem that was quite rappy. It got rhythm to it. And when I first got to Affleck's, this woman came in and I explained I couldn't do music, I couldn't do art, I couldn't, but I could do things with words. And she asked me to do a poem. So I did this poem. And she wrote a blog saying, Affleck's has got a creative in residence. Joy France, the rapping granny. If Eminem had a grandma, it'd be her. And I was like, I don't think I like that. What do I do? And it was about 12 months later, there was these young lads in there and they were rapping. And I just said to them, listen, guys, if I do this poem, will you tell me it's not rap? It's been bugging me. So I did the poem. And they said, yeah, it's rap. You should do rap. And one of them said, you should do battle rap. But what they didn't know was at the time, I was trying to do 60 new things before I turned 60. So it went on a list, just with all the other things that people had suggested, because I thought I might make this into a show or something. And so later, when the film crew came in and discovered I was there and thought I was an interesting person, they looked at this list and they saw battle rap. And I said, yeah, I want to do it, but it's never going to happen. How can I make that happen? And it just set a whole chain of events off where I've ended up here.
So let's talk about that a wee bit. The 60 things before you're 60. How did that come about?
I was at a poetry event, just doing a spot, and I got up on the stage. Oh, I know what it was. It was the first talk of Brexit or something, and I just off the top of my head, before I did my poems, said something like, the first time I ever voted was to vote to join the common market, which became the European Union. And I just said something about, and I'm about to turn 60 in 3 months. And because I've just turned 64, so that's right. And I just said, I should try and do, 60 things before. And I just said it off the top of my head. Anyway, the host, Jackie Hagan, if anybody knows her, just gave people pieces of paper at the interval and said, right, can you give suggestions to Joy as to what she should do? And there were so many hilarious suggestions. I just thought, I'm going to have to do this. And I had a ball. I did some really crazy, lovely things. People suggested all sorts of things. And, it wasn't that I was going to do everything. I would choose 60 new experiences. It could be tasting new food, go a new place, just trying, held an owl for the first time. I went fishing for the first time, that sort of thing. And then when I turned 60, I thought, hang on, why should I stop? I've got this big long list. So I did 61 things when I was 61, and they run up to 60, and so on. So I'm currently trying to do 65 things before I turn 65. So and I'm still up for suggestions and things. And
Well, if anyone's got any suggestions, leave them in the comments. We need 65 things.
Remember, I don't have to do them. They can be hilarious.
How long to your 65th birthday?
Oh no, I've got a full year. I was October actually. So I've got a full year. Although COVID didn't help him.
Yes.
By the way, this is one I've done loads of live interviews on the radio, and I've done lots of pre-recorded podcasts, but this is the first live podcast. So you're one of my 65.
Brilliant. Well, I mean, also you can. It's really hard to kind of sort of pin what this is. So you can also give yourself first internet TV show, first live internet TV show.
Exactly.
It's a podcast, a video podcast, a vodcast. Someone said that it's a vodcast.
A vodcast? So, yeah.
Could well be. And so, would you be up for reciting some poetry tonight? Have you got any?
Yeah, I'm very rusty because
well, there's no live gigs. There's no live events.
I'm usually I'm rubbish when I sit down, but if I stand up, you won't be able to see me. So let me have a think. Yeah, I could do that one. I will probably forget it, but I can do the one that got me into battle rap. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Well, just whatever you want to do.
Rhythm to it. Would that be?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
You want to do it now?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an intro first. And then so you can just sort of you get an intro.
No, I'll not remember this, but hey.
Strange mood of our time.
You call that radio?
Makes coherent sense.
Take it away, Joy France.
Okay. You're just a little boy and you're running through the park, running through the streets, running till it's dark, and your mama smacks your legs when you're running to catch up. She wants to get you home to get out to the pub, and your daddy's always angry and you run away and hide. And when you stop your running, the pain gets big inside. And the moon is made of cheese. 3 blind mice see how they run. You've crossed the starting line and your race has now begun. So watch out for those bed bugs and hope that they don't bite. But beware of the bogeyman, he'll get you in the night. And you're just a cocky teenager running with the crowd, running into trouble, running hard and loud, and you're running up to strangers and begging for a tab, and soon you're running from the gang that want to get you stabbed. And the mood is made of hard cheese. You don't hard cheese. You don't care. I'll go to the next one. And you're just now your mind and you don't know who you are, and you're running from your life into the nearest bar and running to the doctor for some pills to calm your mind, and soon you're running off again, leaving everything behind. And the moon is made of something cheese. I keep missing those bits, just miss them out. Then you meet up with this girl and she's running by your side, and you let her see a little bit of what you keep inside. And although you know you're running, you feel rooted to the spot, but she's running out of patience, getting fed up with it a lot. She wants to settle down. She wants for you to wait, but you just keep on running when her period is late, and the moon is made of mouldy cheese. 3 blind mice are running wild, and the bogeyman doesn't care if you're a grown-up or a child. So you're running from So you're running from the cops, you're running from those guys that you were running for when you thought that you were wise, and you're all alone and crazy thoughts are banging in your head, banging in your brain, and you're running out of something, and you're running fast again. You're running up the ceiling, and you're running up the wall, and you're running at all. And the moon is made of rancid cheese. 3 blind mice have been out running with the dying of the day. The bogeyman will surely come. So you keep on running forward, and you're never looking back. Shadows follow from behind. The future's only black. Run, rabbit, run, 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 run for your life, because your time has come. You run out of oxygen. You run out of breath. You're running from the light. You're running towards death. And the moon is made of melted cheese. 3 blind mice die as they run. And what was started long ago, can it ever be undone? And you stop. And the pain gets so big inside. 2 paths lie ahead. A chance to decide. You could become just another jogger running freely through the park. Or you could become the bogeyman running scared forever in the dark.
Brilliant
You
stuff,
get
Joy.
You get the
I
gist.
get it. No, it's amazing.
I've not done that for so long. I was. Why did I pick that one? you got the idea.
I got the idea very much so. It was amazing. We've got some comments coming in from Sharon says, "Come on, Joy," and we've got Colette. Has got all the. She's got an excellent collection of emojis. Says Colette. Petra says, "Metal detecting." I'm all over it.
I have never done metal detecting. It's on my list.
Then exercise and treasure hunt. And Petra also says, "Great poem." You've got the thumbs up from Alan, and Lee's enjoying your idea of, I think that's the 65 things before 65. We've got Mary Holt in the house. She says, "I haven't stopped smiling since this began." Another amazing YCTR guest. Go Joy, respect. And Jim Morning says, "They never fucking asked me." Jim's a poet, a grumpy poet himself, who has not been offered the nationwide money yet. And we've got New Hill Flyer, Gonzo Division. That's Chris Erin, who was on the show last night. If anyone's just tuned in tonight that missed last night, I recommend you watch it. It was a very interesting conversation about mushrooms, collective consciousness, and various other things. So check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. Petra says, it says a lot about the good spirit of the rap culture that they're so welcoming to Joy. Absolutely, and I think it's also, I think battle rappers appreciate people that do have the balls. I mean, it's one of the main things. It's about, having the guts to do stuff, and also the fact that Joy is actually dismantling people. And, that's what it's all about. Battle rappers watching someone getting destroyed or being destroyed. And so Joy is more than holding her own in that regard. We've got absolutely outstanding, says Alice Sutherland. Mary Veronica says, "What a brilliant interview, Joe and Mark." And Joe McCann says, "Joy is an inspiration." So let's end on that kind of inspiration note, inspiring. What if there is anyone out there that's maybe stuck in their ways and maybe is harbouring an idea of being a writer or doing something? What advice would you give them?
Well, everybody's different, but I get a lot of young people saying, "Oh, I've got to cram everything in now," or older people saying, "Oh, I'm too old for this," or I used to just be terrified of what people would think of me, and the minute I lost that and just think, well, okay, I'm doing nobody any harm in anything I'm doing, so I'm just going to do it. It's a really freeing sort of way to be. And yeah, when you talk about inspiration, I get inspiration all the time. The people I'm meeting, people who have, got their own challenges, have got their own different ideas, are beating their own drum. And I think my biggest piece of advice is don't stay in your own bubble. Now, I'm not saying come and do battle rap, but things across the generations or across political divides or across class divides or anything like that, those walls aren't there. They're in your head. So whatever it is that you think, I'd really like to do, give it a go. It might not be for you or whatever. You might not like the crowd you've joined, but it might just change your life. I've loved this because on Saturday, I'm going to plug this, right? I've always been terrified for years. I've been terrified of speaking on the radio or things like that. And once when I was working with some special needs kids, in my first year of teaching, they were doing riding for the disabled with these horses. And somebody from the local radio came along and shoved a microphone in front of me and said, so what do you think of whatever? And I just went, and nothing came out. So the fact that I'm doing all this is really, I'm enjoying it because I've not had to do it. But on Saturday, not Saturday the 5th of December, so it's a week tomorrow.
Yep.
I'm going on BBC Radio 4, Saturday Live in the morning. And yeah, I'm terrified. So if anybody wants to, just listen in and give me some feedback and see see how it goes. But that's it.
Well, that's going to be great.
It wouldn't be great. So I've no idea, but I'm going to have to be careful what I say. You know.
Yeah, no fucking bugger.
It's national radio. I can't say some of the things I've been able to say to you.
That's very true. That's very true. So yeah, it's great that you're going to be doing. I think it's you're bang on when you're saying if you're not going out your comfort zone, but going out your comfort zone is where all the good stuff happens.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get. That's how you're going to grow as a person. That's how you're going to, have those interesting stories and those new experiences is by doing stuff that you're a little bit scared to do. And I'm sure that you'll smash Radio 4. You'll smash it. Yeah. And then Lee's got a suggestion. She says that you need to take magic mushrooms.
Right. Okay. This is going to go in the show. I'm going to have a whole section. I'm sorry, I'm writing 2 shows. One about the 60 before 60 and one about getting into battle rap. And they may end up being one, I'm not sure. But one of the problems is when people say to you things like, do magic mushrooms or dance on a table or whatever it is, of course, I'm then in this dilemma. Do I tell them whether I already have? Or do I, it's like, how much do I want to reveal about my life? So it's really funny that, a lot of people make a lot of assumptions about me and, just because I was quiet or whatever. So, yeah, I think
I know. Say no more, Joy. I know what you mean. And the backdrop suddenly makes a lot more sense as well. So, Joy, how can people hear more about your stuff? How can they support what you do? And obviously, for anyone, I should point out that we only played small snippets of the battle raps that are available on YouTube just by searching Joy France. But I mean, I personally would love to see and hear more of your poetry and stuff like that. Have you got any books out?
Lots up there. Joy France poetry will get you there. Joy France words on a lot of the social media stuff. Again, I've got the stuff to do with Afflex and it's.
Can we pick one of your poems then? Can we pick one of your poems from YouTube then? Just to finish on, I've got Home Truths, I've got Hey Mrs. B, I've got Whispers, I've got a Flex.
Do Mum, do the one. My mum, right? My mum is 95 on Monday, and she keeps saying to me all the time, "What happened to my quiet daughter? Where did she go?" And I tried to write. It's an early poem. I tried to write because I wanted to write something about her because she thinks she's ordinary. And she's amazing. Like most people who are amazing think they're ordinary. So this is for my mum, but it's also for everybody else who's got somebody in their lives who they really feel is special. And I don't know which version will come up there, but I hope you enjoy it. It's not battle rap.
My mum was Betty Davis. Or Greta Garbo. On those rare nights when she would go and leave me and Dad at home, she'd hang her pinny behind the bedroom door, take off the slippers that she always wore, fold her headscarf into the dressing table drawer, and transform into a star. And I'd watch as those hands that worked the mangle and yanked the tangles from my hair would tease the curls from the rollers and unfurl them with such care. And then a little mist of spray, and just enough of brown on face with a powder puff. Then with breath held tight, and eyes open wide, I'd watch the lipstick twist and the red rise. Left slide, right slide. Smack lips tight and press down gently on a hanky white. Then she'd be off down the path with no rush or fuss, and I'd peer through the window till she got on the bus and raced back to the table and cradle that hanky with the shadow red kiss that she'd left just for me.
And I knew there'd be a red carpet when she got off the 33, with crowds and photographers admiring her beauty, because they would all love her, but not as much as me. And this was in Little Hulton, Salford Council's housing overspill suburbia. And this was the end of the 50s, still painted in post-war sepia, with no hint of the 60s psychedelia waiting round the corner. And even now, as I dig in my bag, overstuffed with tat and disorder, I'll feel those ridges, and I'm back. New York, London, Paris, Rome, Estee Lauder. And there's a tear in my eye, because I no longer see magic in the mundane, just grown-up realities. But there's a bloody big smile too, because 50 years on, none of her dignity and poise have gone, and she doesn't wear makeup upon her face to show that she has beauty and grace. It's there in every wrinkle, every line, every gesture, every movement, so refined. So, here's to you and everything you are. To my mum, forever a star. Mwah.
You call that radio?
You call that radio?
What back to the people who hated on me?
Right, and then I see the disinfectant that knocks it out in a minute.
That's mad, isn't it?
Is this a Netflix thing?
It's actually a podcast.
What the fuck's a podcast?
You know, it's kind of like a radio show.
Oh, that! Radio!
Yeah.
Just popped in there. And is there a way we can do something like that?
I couldn't help it.
By injection inside or
Yeah, I think so, because I think just paint in general, because I think like my poems in my painting.
No, cut. Amazing stuff. Shelto Mel says, brilliant. Sweet words, says Colette. I've got a tear in my eye, says Joe. Every wise person I've ever met says that, says Nick. Amazing woman, total inspiration, says Angela. Lindsay says, what an amazing, lovely woman, love your spirit and sense of humour. Raymond Dito says, write a book about your mission to do 65 new things in a year. And loved that, says Petra. And Alice says, my mum brought a lump to my throat. So true. Superb. Go and check out the rest of Joy's stuff. There is a short film out that I managed to get a wee look at. It's not online just now, but keep an eye out for the short film coming back out. And yeah, go and check her poetry out and listen out for her on Radio 4 next Saturday morning. Tomorrow we're back at 7 for Amelia Baylor live from Capture Works. On Sunday, we have the Creative Martyrs live from Capture Works. And then we're back live here on Monday for Ashley Crossan. The Celia talking about the bow ties and llamas. Then Becky and Rosie take over for a Music Broth Song Seeds special on Wednesday. And Thursday we've got You've All Got Talent, which is a talent show hosted by Auntie Barry and Sarah. Next week we've got an EP launch as well. So we're going to be here pretty much every day between now and Christmas, I think. And if we get enough support, we're going to do an all-day live stream from Capture Works. But the last one didn't really work out as well as I would have liked financially. So cost money. So the only way we can actually justify an all-day live stream for Christmas is if we get up to 200 patrons. We're at 182. So we're getting there, but we could do a few more. And if you want to support the show, then you can do so by making a donation at patreon.com/you call that radio. If you can afford a couple of pounds a month, then that goes a long way and it helps us do this show, or a one-off donation at paypal.me/you call that radio. Thank you to everyone for tuning in tonight and all our amazing guests this week. This week's been amazing. And especially Joy. She's an absolute legend. I'm glad you seem to have all enjoyed it. We'll see you back here tomorrow night for Amelia Baylor, live from Captured Works. Have a lovely weekend, people, and I'll see you here on Monday.
Brothers and sisters. That's you, Daniel.
You call that radio? You call that radio TV? No. You call that radio TV?
This is You Call That Radio.